Toads. Funky, warty, hopping, crawling, bug-eating little dudes. It's difficult to pin down exactly what makes these silly little amphibians so compelling, be it finding them under decks and basement window wells, their grumpy resting toad faces, or their undeniable, captivating charisma. If you're like me and live in North America, the toad you're probably most familiar with is the American toad. These handful-sized bellies with legs live in dark, damp environments, only frequenting ponds or puddles in the spring to lay their eggs. In the summer and fall, they're hanging in the dirt in the day and on the prowl in the night. For these voracious carnivores, ants, moths, and other crawlies are a favorite, but they're also known to go after small frogs, fish, and vertebrates. If it moves and it fits in a mouth, it's dinner. However, this humble quest to get big and fat is put on hold every single year by a looming threat to all life. Like most other amphibians, American toads are ectotherms, cold-blooded. Warm-blooded animals like humans, deer, and finches take advantage of the fact that the process of turning sugar into cellular energy, ATP, is imperfect. Some of sugar's energy is always lost as heat during this conversion. So if you're doing a whole lot of energy production, you can also create a whole lot of heat. Of course, this heat on demand comes at a cost. It takes a lot of food to keep this process going, and food is not something that is in an abundant supply during the winter. So how do our ectothermic friends cope with the frigid cold of the temperate American winter without their own cellular furnaces? Some ectotherms are freeze-tolerant. Their watery components just don't get icy for whatever reason. This is common in bug larvae, for example. Others produce cyroprotectants, molecules or proteins that allow the body's fluids to be cooled below freezing without any ice formation. It's very similar to the antifreeze put in cars to prevent their pipes and tubes from freezing up in the winter. Glycerol seems to be the antifreeze of choice in many terrestrial amphibians, and it's known to be effective in protecting red blood cells, muscle tissues, and mammalian sperm from freezing. The American toad, however, has no need for glycerol in its hibernating habits. Once things start getting chilly, American toads find some nice loose soil and wiggle their butts down in the dirt. As things get colder and colder, they just keep wiggling backwards further and further below the frost line. American toads put in boxes too shallow to avoid the frost line during hibernation don't make it to see the spring because they have no anti-icing biological backups. But once things warm up, the toads all emerge, and then they know it's time to go find a mate. In fact, most species of toads and frogs that live in temperate climates will not breed spontaneously without a period of cool weather beforehand. Creating these conditions artificially for a captive population in order to induce breeding is known as brumination. From my discussions with American toad keepers, the best method for bruminating American toads is to fill a box 2 to 3 feet deep with loose soil topped with leaves or another organic insulator. Then place that box into a larger container about a foot shorter, stuffed with hay or straw to insulate the toad zone. Usually putting this setup into a garage or shed during winter will work perfectly, and the toads can be kept there for the duration of winter until they choose to emerge or be manually removed from their slumber after a couple of weeks. After this, all they need is a shallow pool of water with very light filtration, and eggs should show up in a week or so. So next spring, when things start to warm up, keep an eye out for the emergence of our well-rested amphibian friends, and be thankful that you don't have to burrow in the dirt just to make it through the season.